Welcome everybody to the Tech Pop Podcast. My name is Sam Callahan, and today we have the full cast and crew ready to go, ready to talk about shenanigans, games related or otherwise. Just going from left to right here on my Skype page, I got Brandon Lee Carey, Mr. Fallout
I'm on my way to Pagerman's Mountain.
Good. Got Garrett Goziski.
It's amazing how Nickelback is the perfect response to every Cards Against Humanity question. and that's not a retweet. I made that myself because I was playing Cards Against Humanity today, and I had Nickelback, and I was like, "Oh my god, Nickelback would work for every single one of these fucking responses."
Have you tweeted that out? Because that could be something that catches on.
No, I'm doing that right now.
So you might get a couple thousand retweets out of that.
Copyright.
Yep. And last, certainly not least, Mr. Chris Charia.
I couldn't tell if I was in a nightmare or not when I dreamt that Taco Bell had opened a buffet.
It's the most beautiful sight in the world. Can you imagine, like, just going to Taco Bell one evening with friends and you could just grab tacos out of, like, those hot pans?
Oh, God,
like,
it's
just,
so
like,
weird.
5 tacos, here's 5 more tacos, here's 3 more tacos. Like, oh, God, please.
Basically, like, it's like they would have, like, just a thing of here are tortillas and here is, like, cheese. And you would just wrap that around every other damned thing that's on there, which is basically what they do to their menu. It's like, we need a new item. What do we do? Take a tortilla and cheese and wrap it around it. There we go.
Seems like most of the menu items are just like, okay, so this time we'll put the cheese on the outside and then wrap it the other way. And
Either
like,
that or they just try to combine shit of, like...
Just, yeah, it's like, it's never, like, new stuff, though. It's always just different varieties of the same stuff.
Here's a quesarito. What?
I don't know. But we love Taco Bell. It's our favorite sponsor of the show.
I actually had Taco Bell this week, no joke.
I've been having Taco Bell a lot more lately, which is concerning me greatly. For a while, I didn't eat there for like years.
I only have Taco Bell at most once or twice a year.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what it used to be like, and then I went there one time, I was like, oh, Taco Bell's pretty great. And then you start going like...
It's also pretty shitty for you.
It doesn't reheat well either. Which I thought it would, but...
You have to do it in the oven.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what I found.
It's Taco Bell Secrets with Brandon Carey. Anyway, I think we should just get right on with it and talk about our sole piece of news for the week.
I tweeted it.
Yeah. So... Leonard Nimoy lived long and prospered, but that can't last forever.
Yeah, he was 83 after, I believe they said the cause of death was a form of lung cancer.
Yeah, it was complications.
Yeah,
I think while he's no longer with us, he will live long and prosper in the works that he left behind. Because I think a generation of people are going to show their kids, and they're going to become the next generation. And then they're going to show it to their kids, and they're going to show it to their kids. And I think Leonard Nimoy is going to kind of live on forever.
Yeah,
at least for a very long time.
Star Trek is forever, man.
I mean, he was, the last thing I remember seeing him in was, as far as movies go, was that Star Trek reboot that they did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, it was amazing that he was there for that, and then, as well as, a lot of work that he has done in games, as, narrating for, like, Civilization 4.
And he was the current voice of Master Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts.
Yep.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible. That guy's done quite a lot. It is time.
Yeah, he definitely has.
Yeah, so
no one
that
can
guy...
deny that he has done a lot.
I mean, and the other really great thing about him was that, a lot of people, actors especially, that don't like the idea of being typecast and being known for one character, but Leonard Nimoy kind of embraced the fact that he was known for Spock and everything, and it was just, he always embraced the character and he never shied away from it. It was... Yeah.
He there was, I'm very sorry to cut you off. There was actually a time where he wanted to be known for other things, and if
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to be known for other things, and if you flashed him like the Spock sign, he would get very upset. He wanted to be known for other things, and he didn't want to just be remembered as Spock. Later, he embraced the character, and he was absolutely happy to be known as Spock. But there was a period where he was actually very annoyed with people who were like, "Oh."
I imagine that was in the middle of like his career when he was trying to be known, because at that point you're still looking for other work.
I thought it was recently, but yeah, I might be wrong.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I can't speak to that one way or the other.
He was a cool guy. That's the best thing I could say about him.
He was a
pretty
really
cool guy.
Yeah, I don't think anyone could deny that. He was a really nice guy.
He fought aliens and wasn't afraid of anything.
I don't know.
I also just now realized I said next generation when I was talking about people who were.
Yeah, I was gonna make a joke about that. Next generation's gonna go check out Picard.
I realized that. I went, oh, next generation. Lols.
Star Trek humor.
Man.
Sort of, kind of.
Yeah, I think I speak for everybody when I say he's going to be missed. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, aside from that, unless there's any news that has happened in the past 30 seconds, we're gonna roll right on into the main. What is it? The main thing.
The main portion of the show.
You know, our shenanigans.
Yeah. I was trying to avoid any food-related jokes or references, and I was like, "That's the only way to describe it." Maybe I'm thinking of food too much.
Are you hungry?
A little bit. Anyway.
Why don't we cut to the cast? Sam, go grab a sandwich, then we'll adjourn later.
We'll just keep going. Anyway.
Sure you're not hungry?
Nope.
Just let him go, man. Just let him go.
We'll just keep doing this for the next hour and a half. Anyway, I think this week, why don't we start off with Garrett talking about shit.
About news?
No, about your week.
What you did this week.
Oh,
It's your
all
segment.
right. This week I've played League.
Okay, you got 3 seconds to talk about League this week. I'm cutting it down every week.
So my new mate is Nar, and he's cute. And a friend of mine, for my birthday, bought me a Nar t-shirt. Okay, done with League.
Okay, thanks. Great. So glad.
I have been reading Seconds, the graphic novel by Bill O'Malley, which is really good. I have... Oh, tomorrow is my birthday, so if you're listening to this podcast, then it's too late to wish me a happy birthday because you aren't listening to it live.
But it's not late enough that you can't buy him expensive Steam gifts.
What if
you should totally buy me expensive Steam gifts.
There's a CIA agent right now who's a huge fan of the show and is listening to us live, but we just don't know it.
Yeah. The secret is this show has been broadcast live since the beginning. I just never told y'all.
The call is coming from inside the house. So yeah, happy birthday to me. I'm 1 year closer. I'm 1 year closer to dying. Yay! And
hey, you still got like the 20s, and then once you get to Chris's age, then you can start giving up.
I'm 20. I'm 23. I've played actual Sunlight. Once I hit 25, doors start closing. But
no.
You got to like 30.
And I'm drinking a beer that my friend Ben. My friend Ben is absolute, like, he has a peach fetish. I swear to God, he drinks. He drinks Arizona peach tea. That's all he drinks. To him that is. And I quote, God in the mouth. And he was like, dude, you know Blue Moon, the best beer ever? I said, fuck yeah, I do. I've been to college. He goes, Blue Moon has a new peach-flavored beer. And that's what I'm drinking right now.
Oh, man.
Other than League and hanging out with my friends at college, we have a giant group on Skype now, and every single day at 10 a.m. they'll message me and we'll hang out and play games all day. It pisses my parents off.
Damn kids with your video games.
With your video games, get out and actually meet these people. I do at school. So other than that, and tomorrow we're going to go see 2 movies. We're going to see American Sniper, and then we're going to see The Theory of Everything. 2 fucking awesome movies. Other than that, not a whole lot been going on, honestly. I helped a guy get his dog today. I was reading Seconds, and some guy knocked on my door, and the guy's name was Omar, and he said, hi, yeah, my dog ran away, can you help me go get him? And so I had to kind of
it's like the door at your house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy knocked on my door. He's like, hey, have you seen a white dog? I said, no. And then I thought about it, and then I closed the door. and thought about it, and I went, fuck it. So I went outside, and he's like, oh, you don't know, you don't have to help me find him. I'm like, no, I do. I'm a nice person. So we're both outside in the rain, and I'm like, is that your dog? He goes, oh shit, that's my dog. And then the dog tried running past me, and I grabbed him, like, I got your dog. And that was about it.
Beautiful story.
Well,
Yeah, cool story, bro.
So I got a question for you. Like, so, because I had recently heard, I guess, League is coming out with a new champion.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Have you seen any of that?
Mm-hmm. I
What
have.
What is he?
Oh, excuse me. The new champion, it's weird. It's like a Studio Ghibli character come to life. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but it's a character that gets buffs simply by moving around. It's a little bit like Yasuo. Yasuo is a character who, when he moves around, you fill a bar. The faster he moves, the faster the bar fills up. When it's full, the next amount of damage he takes will become health. So like you hit him for a certain amount of damage, that damage is reverted back into his health. So it's like you didn't even touch him. As long as that bar is full, you can't kill him. But it takes a little while for that bar to fill up. This character, however, when you move around, buffs appear. They're called trinkets or tokens or something like that, or totems or some shit. And you pick them up, and that gives you a speed boost, and the people around you a speed boost, and it gives you guys. It's a very strange champion.
When you say he looks like a Studio Ghibli character, like what are you talking here? Like, see, maybe something.
He has the face of. He has a. I can't remember the name of it exactly. I'm sure Sam would know. The name of, and that wasn't a slam or anything. The face of the. It's these totems that were built to represent the dead.
In what
like
culture?
Japanese. They in Animal Crossing, you can glitch your character into having this face, and
I got nothing.
Almost like a Deku mask from Majora's Mask, the Deku. But yeah, it's like three. He looks like No Face from Spirited Away.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Is he a dragon?
No, he looks like Santa. He looks like Santa, but with the face of No Face from Spirited Away, or the little tree spirits from Princess Mononoke. Yeah, that's what he looks like.
I know what you're talking about. I just don't know like the name of that.
And he plays a flute, and he gets these. He gets buffs by just walking around and going into bushes and stuff. It's a very strange champion. I'm not gonna purchase him right away. I'm not skeptical. Skeptical is a bad word, but I'm very
wary.
Yeah,
Cautious.
I'm wary. I'm not gonna pick him up immediately, especially considering if I go into an ARAMS game and I get him and I've never played him before. I hate getting champions that I never play. Like if I get a champion, I want to master that champion, and then I go into an ARAMS game, I get that champion, I go, oh, I'm comfortable. I don't want to get a champion, I go, oh shit.
See, what the solution is to be great at everything and never fail and never mess up once, and then everybody in League will like you.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they won't. Still find a way to hate you.
They will still hate you for some reason.
Have you played League? Those are the most toxic.
Because fuck those guys.
That's why I don't play League.
I love League. I'm wearing a League of Legends jacket right now and a Ziggs t-shirt. League of Legends has some of the most toxic, vile, venomous, dickish, bottom of the barrel pieces of shit I've ever played.
So go play
in my entire life.
That's
but play
thanks
it
to our new
because it's
sponsor,
fun.
League of Legends.
But play it because it's absolutely fun, and it has a great not community, but it has a great staff.
Sure.
I was gonna say
if they
fan
suck
base,
too,
but I'm like,
then I
no.
wouldn't bother.
No, the staff are great, and they deal with the assholes, so you're more likely to play with good people than bad people.
I just like playing Awesome Knots with you guys and not dealing
Awesome
with people.
Knots is a lot of fun. We need to play Gauntlet again. We need to play something.
We gotta play games. Gotta upload those videos, man, and get popular on the YouTube.
Oh, we will.
I play video games, guys. Play video games.
I play so many video games. So what else you do, Garrett? Anything else?
Other than that, playing Warframe and reading and stuff like that, not a whole lot. Oh, really quick, I'm going to add, for the past while, we have had absolutely no school. I haven't had school in 2 weeks.
Is it because of
Holy
weather?
Because of the weather. It's been so snowy.
Wow.
We recently got
How many
Okay.
inches do you have, Garrett?
Right now, we've only got 3, but we've had, we had about 7 the week before, and
Jeez.
it was coming down in mixes of snow and hail, and so that was fun. And like immediately, like I keep getting texts like your school's been canceled, and then our teacher was like, I swear to fucking God, if you guys miss another day of school, I'm cutting your spring break. It's like, oh, okay. And it's like,
this is gonna sound snobbish, but that's it.
it's like you guys. Yeah, I know. I'm from New York. Believe me, I know.
Yeah, I mean, I got work canceled over about 2 inches, 3 inches of snow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it?
I'm in, dude. I'm in the South right now.
Oh, sorry.
I'm
That
from.
was turned off.
I'm from New York. Like typically, it's like 3 feet of snow. It's like asshole, you're going to snow. You're going to school. But here it's like 2 inches, and everyone's like, I can't drive. And
That's what they say
And-
too.
yeah, that's how they say it. That's how they say it. They
Also-
they can't they can't drive. We don't have salt trucks. Like people can't drive. Period.
Nope.
Down here. So when you add weather into the mix, now they really.
I mean,
fucking
that's
can't
pretty much
drive.
Georgia in a nutshell.
Yeah. So
Can't
it's
drive
shit.
yeah.
Yeah, so I found a picture
bad.
of the new champion dude from League. His name is Bard. Yeah, he looks appropriately like I could see that in a Studio Ghibli movie. Like, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, everybody got their yeps in. Everybody's in agreement.
But yeah. So other than no school and stuff like that, that's about it. That's about all I've been doing.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, so that's done. Next up, I'm gonna throw out Chris here because I want to hear what he has to talk about with this
Okay.
thing he keeps talking about.
Yeah, so I recently got myself a new anime-esque fighting game.
Go on.
So the title of this is called Under Night in Birth, EXE Late.
That sounds
And-
appropriately messed up to be anime.
The reasoning for like the reason why they throw the EXE late on there is because supposedly this is the improved version over the arcade original, which was just called Under Night in Birth.
Which is already a fantastic title that made perfect
Yeah,
sense.
although I don't know if this is what's supposed to be the full title or if this is just some flavor text they put under it all the time. But like anytime you see the title, whether it's in the game or like or on the cover here, there's like this text underneath it. Like if this is also supposed to be part of the title or not. Also, if I speak louder, it is because they use capital letters.
Oh, yeah, that's how you enunciate that.
So it's like you read the front of the box and it's like Under Night in Birth, EXE Late, Thousand Night, Recurrence Night, Reverie End Invite, and 7 Days Immortal.
Mhm.
Unreal Black Things. Like what?
Just
Like,
go ahead
what's
and
that
put the
mean?
hashtag weeb shit in there.
What the fuck does that mean? Oh,
It's about
You
as anime as you
said
get.
words, Turkey. You said them.
The,
I just don't know
Unreal
what the
Black
any of them
Things.
meant.
the the Japanese grasp on the English language is
God sakes.
not so great.
just don't. And I've only done arcade mode with one character, this dude named Hyde. And yes, it is pronounced Hyde. It is not Hide or anything like that because the game, thankfully, yeah, the only reason I know how to pronounce some of the names of this game is because the game announcer is kind enough to pronounce them for you. So I was like, yeah, so if
But
it's
is it an English announcer or is it a Japanese announcer?
it's a Japanese announcer.
Okay.
'Cause-
So make sure it wasn't like some American guy trying to
No,
pronounce
you
names.
totally no. If you listen to it, it's like you totally hear it, like because the Japanese names are pronounced very, very well as you would expect a Japanese person to. There's no English voice acting in this game whatsoever.
Good.
Not that I've found. There's
I
no
wanted
option.
to sully my game.
Yeah, I mean it was basically like because the character I played with Hyde, which is spelled Hyde.
Subs over subs.
Yeah.
I don't.
Um,
I don't even know who you are.
I only played through his arcade mode. Now I'm sure there could be something said for like, well, if you wanted a full grasp of a story in a fighting game, you would play with every character. But I don't have that kind of time at the moment.
Also, it's an anime fighting game, so how many hours a day do you have to do this?
Well, I'm not saying I wouldn't, because I've actually been enjoying my time with this. This has actually been a really fun game. But like, I played through the arcade mode once, and it's one of those things where it's like, I played, with the character that the character select defaults onto. Your Ryu, your Akira Yuki's, whatever, what have you, and
Your Ragna's
so
a Blood Edge.
you kind of, or as Brandon would kind of be more used to, like your Yu Narakami or whatever. But
Fucking Persona shit.
and he's got a.
I only
honest-
interpret anime through Persona. That's the only way I can
That's the
interpret
lens
anime.
through which you see anime. It's Persona.
But like,
This is now an established fact in the texture pop universe.
but like the whole thing, like the whole setup of this is that there's just weird shit in what is called the Hollow Knight. Because anytime they talk about the Knight or the Hollow Knight, all the text they use double quotes over it.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing out in this night? Quote quote night. Like,
It's the dark
or the
hour.
Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this weird thing where like just demons and crazy shit are going down, and like people are being devoured by darkness, and it's just all kinds of weird shit. And there are
always
people.
darkness does devouring, never the light.
Yeah, and then like all the fighting, the characters that you play as, they are like people that use the power of EXS.
Mhm.
I'll repeat that. They have the power of EXS, which is, it's like, that's one of the meters that you have, like if you're just playing the game, where like that's what dictates your super moves or like your EX moves, whatever. But like, yeah, it's like they refer to that in the story as like people that have the power of the EXS are called inbirths.
In
And
birth?
it's just- Yeah,
IRTH.
like you are an inbirth. Yeah, inbirths.
Okay.
Like, because in the back of the box, it even says, the tales of the inbirths begin during this double quote Hollow Night.
Mhm, mhm.
It's just,
Okay.
Yeah, the double quote thing
So,
reminds
it's
me a
one
lot
of
of
those
what is it? Freedom Wars, because they have a phrase called "on high," where they say people come from "quote unquote" on high. It's that same thing where it just sounds kind of weird because it's a normal phrase, but they put quotes around it like it's special.
like like there's some kind of other meaning to it or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, and I get that it's just one of those things where it's like its anime is all shit and it throws all kinds of terminology at you. Like they just expect you to know what this means. Like I just kind of gathered the fact that an inbirth is somebody that has this weird power that all these dudes fight each other. But aside from all that nonsense, though, like I said, this has actually been a pretty enjoyable game to play. One of the things that I find enjoyable and maybe a little weird is the fact that like every single character, there's only 16 characters. They have special. Their move sets are all very similar, but each one of them also has moves that are special to them. Like if you do a quarter, because every one of them have like the same move sets of like, here's quarter circle forward move, here's your quarter circle back move, here's your dragon punch move, and depending on who you play as, those do different things, but some characters do have some moves that are specific to them, like the one throw character, yeah, he's got a 360 rotation like throw move that he has, and some characters can double jump, others can't, that's just because it used to be like a thing in like Capcom fighting games, like everybody can jump like super fucking high, but in this game, like not everybody can do that, and they don't like it. It takes enough steps backwards to kind of keep things simple, but it has enough content there, and the fighting is very interesting to keep things interesting. Like, for instance, this is a four button fighting game.
Okay.
So you have light, heavy, medium attack, and then you have one button that is simply used for charging meter. Like they do, that whole anime-esque thing of like they sit there and kind of glow and charge their meter. Like you have one button just for that, but you will use that button in like super moves that they do. Also, all of the like their super moves, kind of like Persona, all of their like super finishers and stuff are the exact same button inputs. So
Is it just double quarter circle forward?
No, all of them are like half circle back to forward, and then the charge meter button.
Okay.
Well, they call it like A, B, C, and D. You know,
Yeah,
kind of
just fighting games.
Yeah, kind of typical Japanese fighting games. Like, and you know, and a lot of that could be chalked up to the fact, you know, this is Axis Games. You know, this is another game that they've put out.
And
you know, and Arc System Works. Also developed by. This is developed by a company called like French Bread.
Yeah,
like,
buddy! Fucking Melty Blood people!
Yeah, yep.
I fucking love Melty Blood.
Yeah.
That is an excellent anime fighter.
If you were into that...
What is that?
It's an old anime fighter.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Something I discovered recently, as a matter of fact. But
yeah, put it this way, it's an old anime fighter based off a visual novel. If you believe that. And it's about vampires. But the thing that's funny is that he talks about everybody having very similar basic moves along with, like, you know, some special moves, which to me sounds very much like Melty Blood, where everybody has the same basic attacks, and then Arc Systems, where people have certain specials and a drive system of sorts.
Wait, how would blood melt? It's already liquid.
Vampires, man. You gotta beat the vampires. You also gotta date the vampire girl if you're choosing. That's how you play Tsukihime.
Oh man, no, let's not get into that. Yeah, like I've had a lot of fun. I've had some fun with this, like trying out some of the various characters to where it's like some people would probably say like, oh, what, everybody's Shoto character in this? No, it's because even though they have the same move sets, it's not like the special moves do the same things. Like not everybody does quarter circle forward and has a projectile. That's not how it is. And like the one throw character dude, you do Dragon Punch with him, and he has like this really good like swing attack with his humongous arms that he has, and you know, the character designs are, you know, fucking nuts. And would you expect anything else other than that? Although
part of Arc Systems,
yeah, like the main dude, like the guy I played as Hyde, like he seems like such a douchebag. Like he's just really It's just like he's just cussing all the time. Like, where the hell is he? This is bullshit. Like he just says stuff like that all the time. You know?
Huh?
Just I haven't gotten to know
anything to do with the translation or something like that. With like different levels of certain words.
I know a lot of people have been like a lot of people that I know, they've been playing like the untranslated version of this, because I don't think the translated version of this came out until like last Tuesday, which will probably be like a week from when this cast
like
goes up.
Very, very new.
Yeah, and it was $40, so I wasn't gonna say
fighters. That's where it's at. I'm probably gonna get a copy because I'm like, it's fucking Melty Blood cross Guilty Gear. I'm down with that.
It's really good. I like I said, I've been enjoying my time with it. Like not even playing the arcade mode. I'll just go into versus matches and just play like, you know, just random matches and stuff. But this game brings back something that I missed, was that, remember when you could edit color palettes yourself rather than having to buy them as DLC?
Yes.
Guess what? You can do that in this game.
Like,
you
is it like King of Fighters style?
That I don't know. I haven't messed with it.
Well, King
I just
of Fighters
know
is
that
like where you have
like the Soul Calibur
range.
creative character, like back in Soul Calibur 3. You had like 3 colors you had to choose.
Well, what I meant is, like, do you just choose from preset shades, or King of Fighters basically just had the whole color, like, hex values for you? So you could choose,
that I
like,
don't know. I just know that there was a customize option on the menu, and I was like, yes, finally, somebody did this, rather than selling me fucking color palettes, which...
So now you can make that black color palette that usually costs $5.
Oh, God, yeah, and it's so dumb that they start charging for that shit.
Yeah.
But, like,
choose for a couple of numerical adjustments.
Both Melty Blood and Guilty Gear both had color palette sets.
I mean, and right off the bat, like, each character, like, there's 8 different color palettes that they have, and then you can still customize and make your own, which is fantastic. So, yeah, I fucking like it. I think the only reason you don't like this game is if you just, for some reason, don't like anime fighters. That's just, like... To me, this game did not seem that complicated either, because once I got a really good feel for the main character Hyde, who I played as in arcade mode, default difficulty setting, I was able to go through the whole game without getting beaten. Like, maybe lost a 1 round, but other than that, like I didn't lose like a whole fight once. Like,
Yeah, this all sounds like very Melty Blood to me. I'm not sure which part they had development in, but that sounds about right.
I've never played a Melty Blood game, but it felt like this felt like a really balanced game, and it's not like I'm gonna learn every character, but I kind of feel like because of the similar movesets, they make it easy for people who want to just I'm gonna learn maybe a couple dudes, if not one dude, and then I feel like I'll have somewhat of a decent grasp of like just playing other characters if I want to mix it up. So,
all right, yeah, I'll probably get that myself sometime soon. I could use a new fighter. And one little, just kind of a little story that something stupid I had happen. I wanted to play a Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. Now I didn't start. Well, I kind of did, but it's not something I'm gonna go into detail about. But got a copy of that at my GameStop, and then realized the dude put the wrong disc in there. He put in the disc for the original Dragon's Dogma. And what I decided to do though was popped it into my PS3, started a new game, got my save file on there, and then went back, showed him my receipt and everything. It was like, yeah, I bought this, but you gave me the wrong disc. So I got the right one and everything. So basically, I was able to get like some of the special game bonuses that Dark Arisen gives you if you have a save file from the original. Yeah,
that's clever.
Because I remember buying a physical copy of Dragon's Dogma, and I got Dark Arisen for PS Plus last year, and that happened to me.
Yeah, because they give you like, oh, here you had a save file of the original game. Here's all this extra bonus stuff, and basically, yeah. And I knew about that. So I was like, I'm going to make a save file and then go return this and get my actual copy of the game.
I need to get back into that game. Like, the biggest problem I had with it was just the frame rate. Like, other than that, I enjoyed the hell out of it.
I've kind of noticed that the textures aren't that sharp, to be honest with you.
I mean, that bothers me so little just compared to the fact that the game just, like, starts getting really choppy when you, like, start climbing on guys. But the thing is, like, the gameplay in that game is so good. It's, like, one of the coolest action RPGs I've ever played. Yeah. And it's just got some ridiculous shit how you can just like pick up your own partners and just throw them. Because, you can just pick up any enemy or whatever. So it's like, I don't know, here's my healer. I'm just going to throw him off a cliff because he'll be safer down there. This is ridiculous.
I don't know. I might start messing around with that later. I just thought that was ridiculous, though, how, like, the dude put the... I mean, that's an honest mistake, too.
Yeah.
I can see how somebody gets, confused with that. But still, it was like I made the save file and then went and returned it. So I was able to get all the bonuses without having to actually own both games. Fucking great. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that would say that, well, I just rented the other copy of the original game so I could get these bonuses, but whatever.
Yeah. No harm, no foul.
Yeah,
didn't steal or anything. All right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna let Brandon go next, and I'll let myself finish out for the week.
Okay. So the first thing I did this week is that I finished Far Cry 4.
All right.
I beat the game. I am 99.7% finished, and I am not going to get that last 0.3.
So, when do we start Interactive Friction? Season 3? Immediately pick it back up.
Yeah, I can't bother with that last 0.3 because it involves doing the arena matches to get the last weapons, and I really just don't care.
Oh, I tried doing that. That was what stopped me on my collectathon to 100%.
I really flat out can't care about the arena. I've tried.
Yeah, and conceptually it sounds kind of cool where it's like, here's like this one weapon, learn this one weapon really well, but there's never enough ammo, the enemies just bum rush you constantly,
and you just end up relying too much on... And it just ends up boiling down to you just doing chain takedowns the whole time, so...
Yeah. And like when an animal shows up like a rhino, you're basically just fucked. Like, you just pray that you don't get hit enough.
Well, you can make them easy by hitting the exploding barrels, but like, again, no matter what weapon you're using, you're using the exact same tactics every single time.
Yeah. It's not as fun as it sounds conceptually. Yeah. I even tried the RPG, and it wasn't that fun because you run out of ammo so fast.
Oh man, and it was just so boring that I couldn't be bothered to get to rank 10 because like if you leveled up faster, I might have, but like you level up in the arena so slowly that it's just not worth your time. But aside from that in Far Cry 4, another thing I noticed is that Amita and Sabal, the more I thought about them, the more I realized they were intensely boring. And these are the two characters you spend the characters you spend most of the time with, which is AJ, Amita, and Sabal. They are the most boring characters in that entire game.
I was like, I don't think Amita's that bad. Sabal just I know their whole dynamic is about like new Kirat and like moving forward versus traditional values, but I do understand your point where like at some point they just came down to just that. Like they have so little character outside of I want traditional, I want not.
Yeah, like Sabal is, I'm a traditionalist. I want to do exactly what we've been doing for years, and Amita's like, well, I mean, we could, but that's kind of shit. So let's just do a drug. Let's just do a drug nation instead.
Yeah,
and Pagan
that
Man
is
the best
that is
character.
literally their. That is literally those two. That is their entire character. They will never change throughout the entire game.
Yeah, there's no like dynamic where they flip it on itself, where like Amita wants the traditional thing for once.
Yeah, like that is literally their entire character. Is that I want progressivism, but I'm okay with drugs, and it's just tradition all the way. That is all they can do.
So how does the story compare to 3?
It's better than 3.
That's what I always hear.
I still have some gripes with it, but it's better than 3.
We would know so well.
Is it bad that I actually kind of liked 3's story? I understand the problems to it, but I thought it was okay.
No, you should watch our whole series and discover why you should hate that series.
Because Sam was like you before he started. Yeah. After he finished, he was not like you.
I started off going like, I'm pretty sure the story was alright, and then I finished it going like, I fucking hate this story so much. It's the worst piece of shit in the world. It's not like it's bad on the surface, it's just like there's so many plot holes in that story. Like just up until the last moment of the ending we got, I was like, well, what about this? And like we just started laughing, so like just this gaping plot hole in the last moment in the last scene of the game.
I mean, and the other thing, Far Cry 3 especially, the other thing about that story was that one of the endings that they had in particular, it was just like the developers kind of wanted to make you do this whole fourth wall breaking thing of like, here's this overall arcing message about violence in video games and how, like, you know, do you really like doing this and shoot people? It's like, dude, shut up. Yeah, absolutely.
So
except not done well. I liked Spec Ops: The Line. I thought it was.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's just like it just comes off as so weird when they try to do that.
Yeah. I thought they didn't do it badly, but it didn't work.
It did not work at all.
No. Like Lisa might be like the best character as far as like getting that message across, but she's so explicit about that.
But going back to its better half.
That's right.
Far Cry 4, the best part of that story is like Pagan Min, obviously.
Pagan Min's fantastic.
He is the best villain. He is best villain.
I honestly never even saw him as a villain. I was like, why is this guy's like a stepdad?
I mean, you can get an ending where he's not the villain.
Are we allowed to spoil this, by the way?
Can we?
I finished it. I don't give a shit. I don't know if any of you guys do.
I don't care. Good.
I'm at that point where I just don't care about story spoilers.
Because I like the ending because it basically recontextualizes everything you've done up until that point. Because what happens is that you enter Pagan Min's mansion and he goes, "Hey, yeah, who are you, by the way? Are you the guy that I said just sit here and enjoy my meal for a couple minutes while I go do stuff? Are you the murderous prick that killed all of my soldiers on the way over here?"
He just makes a joke about how, like, if you had just sat down, you could have had the exact same ending without any of the violence.
And you can.
Yeah,
that's a thing that you can do in the game.
The same ending. He's like, I would have taken you your mother's ashes, and I would have just given you the
He's
whole
just a little
kingdom.
less annoyed at you at that point if you do it that way.
Yeah. It's just, it's pretty great. Like, a lot of people have said that it's, like, incredible, and I think it's just great. Like, you know, it's only surface deep. It's only skin deep, the ending.
It's funny.
But it's a funny joke about video games and player agency.
But like the whole plot twist that he tells you if you spare him and agree to go with his whole plan is that he says, you know, the only reason I brought you here is so that you could be my successor and take my role as king.
Yep. Hot new king of Kirat.
That's the only reason you're here. I was just going to tell you where to bury your mother's ashes and we could go have some fun. That's the whole reason you're here.
He's like, I was just going to give the whole kingdom to you.
Goddamn guns. Let's go shoot some goddamn guns. This is exactly.
And by the way, those terrorists, your father killed my half daughter who I had with your mother, and your mother killed him in retribution, and that's why you left to America.
Yep.
Did you know that? No, you didn't. They didn't tell you that, did they?
Yeah, it's fucking fantastic. It's the best ending in the game, and it
better than
requires
Far Cry 3.
It requires you to sit at the table for 15 minutes.
Oh, and if you, even regardless of whether or not if you choose Sabal or Amita, no matter who you pick, if you actually do like their secret ending, because you can find them in the world and they'll have another after the ending scene.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They're both worse than Peg and Min.
Actually, wait. No, I did see Amita afterwards because I remember what you're talking about.
If you go with Sabal, you'll find that he will kill anyone who doesn't agree with the religion.
Yep.
He's basically a religious extremist. And Amita will go and kidnap children to work in the drug fields.
Jesus.
Yep.
So I saw that ending and then immediately shot Amita afterwards.
Right, because isn't that the thing where you get the option to shoot either of them?
Well, no,
Or you
can
shoot the other one. Based on which
you
mission
shoot the other
choose.
one, but like once the cutscene's over, they're just in the world.
Huh.
You can just
Yeah.
shoot them
I do
if you
remember that.
want, and then the Golden Path will just start shooting you in retaliation.
Because you killed their leader.
But of course, you have a grenade launcher in your pocket, so it's not really a fair contest.
Yeah, fuck them.
And you got your magic healing plants.
Because I just remember the cutscene. Amita's like, "You can either fall in line or get out of my way." I'm like, Amita, do you know who you're talking to right now?
Jason Dillweed. Wait.
Like
Hold
AJ
on.
Gale,
AJ Dillweed.
the person who basically gave you Kyrat on a silver platter. Are you talking back to me?
Yeah,
Fuck you, buddy.
one of these days we are definitely going to do an interactive friction season on that because Far Cry 3 was interesting.
Yeah, and,
All
and
I
this is
know
an
is
interesting
I
game
wanna-
too.
All I know is I want to play Far Cry 2.
And
Dude, Far Cry 2 is pretty great.
Ubisoft, can we stop with the drug-induced hallucinations?
Yeah,
Like, just stop it.
it was
It's
so,
not fun.
It was so fucking weird because when you play 3 and you have that and you're like, all right, I guess I get it because they're trying to tie it to the plot, but in 4 it's literally a joke. It's a joke side quest series. And they
Both
even
Shangri-La and the two druggies who no one ever talks about because they're not important.
well, I mean, they're just side characters. Like,
Yeah.
they get like passively mentioned at one point in the beginning.
Yeah.
Hey
But
man,
literally-
you want to go on a digital
It's
trip?
Reggie and Yogi. Those are the guys. And basically,
Yes.
every time you go meet them, every time they stab you in the leg with a syringe, and they're like, "All right, go find them." That's the mission every time is go find them.
Yes, and it's Ubisoft. Stop doing the drug thing. Even with the Shangri-La stuff. Shangri-La stuff was terrible.
Neat concept, terribly planned, executed.
Like again, they could have just like had you take the skills that you learned as AJ and apply them there, but like no, it's a whole different character with his own moveset and everything, and it is a shitty moveset too. Actually, if I don't mind,
Yeah,
don't mind.
well, conceptually, it's just distilled down the gameplay down to its basics of just shooting arrows and stealth, but it just doesn't play well.
No, it
Just like the
doesn't.
enemies are also not very fun to fight with the way they just relentlessly charge you, and they're
And
like
yeah,
hard to
you
kill.
have a tiger, but he dies pretty quickly.
Yeah, he's not great. He's invisible though, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Got a sick invisible tiger. It's fucking weird, man. Like
Yeah,
there are
I'm just
giant bells being tied down by chains that are like alive and some shit. They're like dragons and birds and like when I say
Okay.
birds, I mean like giant ass birds.
I'm just gonna go with this.
You're flying in the sky. It's
The
straight up
best-
like ethereal stuff.
The best thing I can say about Far Cry 4 is that it is much more self-aware than Far Cry 3 was, for the better.
Yeah, it's much less pretentious about its
Yeah,
shit.
it knows exactly what it is, and like the villain, he like, yeah, I'm a villain, deal with it.
Yeah. Oh, Far Cry 3. It's a pretty good mix between 2
Yeah.
and 3 because 2 was just so self-serious that a lot of people hated the story in that.
Mhm.
And then 3 just got like so way too pretentious for its own good.
Yeah,
So,
like
3's a pretty good mix. Or 4,
yeah,
I mean.
that was much needed self-awareness there, where like they have at least a character that knows, listen, this is all kind of goofy, just go with it, okay?
And of course, now we have the eternal question of what the hell they're going to do with Far Cry 5. Like, you think at this point they're going to have to rebuild again.
I don't know. Maybe they just give it a break. I don't know.
That'd be nice.
Do you
but, like,
know what Ubisoft is, Chris? Do you know what
I-
Ubisoft
But I mean,
I-
like,
is?
even
I
aside
know-
from, like, the break,
I
I'm
know-
not even speaking about, like, timing, how soon. I just mean, like, are they going to use the same gameplay systems? Because that would be a bad idea. Like, a
Yeah.
lot of people are like, you can't do this again. Like, 4 was a better
Yeah.
3, and you can't just make 5 a better 4.
because I think if they just did the same thing again with Far Cry 5, it would just be like an expansion to be like, dude, what the like Ubisoft, what the fuck are you doing? Like this.
Yeah.
A lot of people have actually proposed DLC where you play on Pagan Min's side, and I think that would actually be a really good idea.
There's actually
like
a
DLC
mod.
takes place in the theoretical world where you took the first 15 minutes ending.
Yeah. You know, there actually is a mod for Far Cry 3. I can't remember what it's called. I think it is called Jason in Wonderland, 'cause I think that's how I came up with that episode title. And the idea is that you're playing as a pirate trying to stop the evil Jason Brody from taking over the island. And it's just a fan mod. So it like changes like Voss's skin to Jason's and like changes up a bunch of like the audio files.
Yeah, Jason Brody is such an asshole. AJ Gale isn't as bad. He's just kind of bland.
Yeah, which it's kind of debatable. Like, I guess AJ Gale would be better, but it's kind of a bummer that in trying to pull back from the ashlessness, he doesn't have too much of a character.
He has no character at all.
Yeah. Which is kind of a shame, because there's some good ideas you could have pulled between, like, you know, his dual identities and the way that people treat him. You know, like, I think a lot of people said the most interesting thing about him was just the way that different people...
Or how he reacts to being the Messiah, even though he has no real reason to be.
Yeah. Which, you know, say what you want about Jason, at least, like, he acknowledged that at some point.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the most interesting part people said about AJ was just that depending on the person you were talking to, they pronounce his name differently. Like, that's probably the most interesting part of his character.
Yeah, well,
like
he's the one that calls
Americans
himself AJ, and everyone else calls him Ajay.
Gale. Yeah.
Ajay.
It's interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, Far Cry 4 is definitely a better game than Far Cry 3, but it is not a flawless game.
No. It's fun, though.
And aside from that, I also finished Resident Evil 5 Gold with my co-op partner.
Is that the first time you ever finished it?
Yes.
How do you like that
That
ending?
final boss was garbage.
I've beaten that boss like 3 or 4 times, and it never gets any more
That
fun.
final boss is garbage.
Yep. Yeah, I remember failing that quick time so many times. Was it like a boulder or something like that? You have to mash the button?
Fucking...
Yeah.
Punch the boulder.
I failed that so many times.
How the fuck is he able to do that?
As Sheva, I was the one who I had to jump onto and pull myself up a ledge.
Yep.
I failed that about 4 times.
Because it's just
I
like,
still don't
I don't know
help.
like what the hell kind of fingers they have that they can mash those buttons so fast.
Yes.
It's the quick time events in general in that game are pretty stupid.
Yeah.
Just like in the general sense.
What were you gonna say,
Wait
Chris?
till you wait till you play RE6.
That's not happening, Chris. You can shut the fuck up right now.
Can't wait to get back to RE6.
Yeah, I
Gotta
know.
install.
Damn it.
I'm ready.
I have it too. I haven't installed
And the
it.
game relies on instant death attacks far too much.
Yep. It's a bad
Yep.
horror trope, and it's the same one Evil Within has.
Like there is a puzzle, a light bending puzzle in the game, where if you touch the beam, it's instant death. Which I had some problems with because I was moving the lasers and I accidentally clipped my partner with the laser and and he died. Because I was moving the laser to solve the puzzle.
Is that when you immediately yelled at your partner for being so stupid?
That's what the game for being so stupid. Why does the light cause an instant death? Why is that a good idea?
Well, you see, Brandon, this takes place in the Destiny universe, where light and darkness are very lethal.
Because it burns.
Oh.
It's solar burning.
Like,
I don't know.
It's just a really bad case of melanoma.
Portal 2 did that well with the thermal discouragement beams. The thermal discouragement beams, they would hurt you if you ran into them, but they wouldn't kill you. Like, this game is an instant death.
Apparently Garrett just found my joke just absolutely fucking hilarious. So glad to have entertained you.
Thank you. And it's not just that, that's just the worst example.
That's our episode title right there.
But instant death happens all the time in this game, and it's really fucking annoying.
Yeah, I know like a bunch of like the bigger enemies have that problem too, and then there's like some mix-ups where like the axe guy can technically like down you in one hit, but he can't kill you.
Yeah, and then there's the part.
It tries to be very cinematic.
And then there's the part where the zombies start getting guns and becomes a cover-based shooter for some reason.
Yep. I mean, that's basically RE6 from the beginning.
Oh
Like-
god, yeah.
Like, I was like, this is an interesting game. There's a couple of diverse enemies, and we're kind of having some good melee fun times. Then we got a cover-based shooter. Like, well, I didn't ask for this.
Yeah, and then
it's
it's
the
not
problem is
good.
it doesn't work with the shooting mechanics of that game, which involves standing
Nope.
still, and like the whole reason RE4 worked, RE4 is still like gun guys at the end, but the reason that most of that game worked too is because when you stand still, the tension rises from the fact that they can only get you when they get up close. So it's
Yeah.
a lot about keeping your distance and being backed into corners and such. When it's a cover-based shooter, it's like, well, I'm not moving and they're not moving, so there's less tension on me.
Yeah, and it's just kind of annoying too, because you're basically sitting there in cover, just waiting
them
for the
stop.
chance to stop, waiting for them to stop shooting at you, so they can duck behind cover, and no one's doing anything for like a whole solid minute.
It's kind of funny because that is most cover-based shooters, but it's almost like the skeleton of that system where you can see all of the problems with the cover-based shooter genre. It's just, it's not well disguised or
It's
well
fun
crafted.
when you're like popping a pistol shot in someone's face and then punching them.
Yeah. Or
Like,
shooting them in the
that's
leg and then
actually-
doing an uppercut or like
That's really
a
fun.
roundhouse kick. Roundhouse kick.
I mean, it's also the kind of thing of is your character that you are controlling as capable as the dudes who are also in cover and the like? Because you're playing a cover like RE5, you're playing a cover-based shooter with RE5 controls, whereas
Yes.
the AI maybe they're playing it as fucking Gears of War because they're
Yeah.
better animated than you are.
And then you get the guys with the you get the guys that look like the heavy from TF2.
Yes. Yeah, those guys are actually
yeah.
from RE4.
And
Which I
those
did not
guys
realize
aren't
that's
fun
later.
to fight, except until you get the
Yeah.
Magnum and then just blow them away because fuck those guys.
But doesn't the Magnum have a name in 5? Because I know in 4 it's the butterfly.
There are
the
there are
iron
a
butterfly?
couple different Magnums.
Yeah, there are a few different
Yeah,
magnums.
because I know there are like some that are like throughout the series have the same name.
That's actually how my partner and I got through the something in Nightmare DLC or like Desperate Escape. That's what it's
Escape with Josh and
called. Josh and Jill, like
Jill,
because
yeah.
at the end I had a Magnum and I had like 24 Magnum rounds. So I just blew through. So whenever like a big mini boss enemy came during that last fight where you just had to stay alive until the time runs out, I would just blow them away with my Magnum and then we just go to fight the regular zombies again.
Yeah, just taking them down in like 2 shots. Like,
Yeah. Or like if you get the heavy, you can stun lock him with the Magnum by just shooting him in the head, then kicking him, and shooting him in the head again, and kicking him until he dies.
I thought this was always funny. Something I used to do, like on the 360 version of this, which was what I originally played it on, was that like I had beat the game and I like at least 2 times, and started like grinding a couple missions to where I had enough gold to max out the upgrades on this one Magnum, and then I got infinite ammo for it, and I could get upgrade points and everything faster simply by repeating this one boss fight stage and being done with it very quickly. It was like that big black like giant spider thing that they have. Like there's like an elevator and like something or other. It was like a spider. And with the Magnum that I had, it had infinite ammo. And it was really dumb how like you really start to see the game fall apart when you're just making the boss go to its next phases so damn quickly. Because this Magnum
Yeah.
I have is the most powerful fucking thing in the game, and like the boss can't handle it. Like
It's the most
2
powerful
shots.
handgun in the world.
Yeah, the 2 shots from this handgun, and this giant fucking spider starts getting messed up. It's weird.
What was there was a gun in Resident Evil 5 that I loved called the Hydra. It was like 8
Yeah, it was this big.
shotgun barrels. It was fucking,
Yeah, this big multi-barrel shotgun that you find like.
Yeah.
We should play Resident Evil 5, Chris. I gotta reinstall that on my PS3.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I got it.
you two in my
I have it on my
couple
Xbox
could
360.
could play Mercenaries together.
Yeah. Mercenaries.
I
fun.
never liked Mercenaries.
What? How could you?
I've never
I-
tried it, so I wouldn't know.
You try it. You go right ahead. And then
It's
you
kind of
can
funny
create-
that Mercenaries has kind of become like raid mode with the Revelation series.
But yeah,
I
as
get
far as like the campaign goes, it's a good game, but man, it has a lot of really big problems.
Yep.
At the time, though, it was pretty cool. And like now, it's like so dirt cheap if you ever want to get it. That it's like, dude, grab a friend and grab 2 copies for like $10, and it's a fun afternoon.
Yeah,
And
because
go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, my copy of RE5, like, I bought it again on PS3, and, like, I paid, like, $5 for the standard edition because they didn't have the gold edition, but it didn't cost me that much to get all the DLC either, so...
Yeah. I mean, even when I initially got it, it was only like $20 on the Xbox 360 sometime after it came out.
So aside from those two, the only other thing I did this week is that I played more of the Muramasa DLC. I finished the Nekomata module, and I also finished two more on top of that. The first one was the module was a farmer who was being starved and overtaxed by the evil lord, so he went to basically make a revolt against him. And it's unique because he has three weapons. He has his farmer's hoe and his sickle and a bamboo staff. Like those are his only weapons. And you can notice that he is much weaker than the other characters you play as in that game, because he has not only lower stats, but he has lower damage output, although the bosses are adjusted to compensate for that. And like, you know how in Muramasa when you use that flash move that just cuts all the enemies up on the screen at once?
Kind of.
Like, you know that the old proverb where the Japanese warrior unsheaths his sword and just cuts everything at the same time, with the flashing speed. Well, since he's not a trained warrior, the way he does it, he just calls all of his buddies to just rush all the enemies in that second. Since he's not a warrior, he's a farmer doing a revolution. And it's just kind of funny how they just kind of recontextualize that in a way that actually makes sense for that particular character.
I believe it.
And when you beat the modules in Muramasa Rebirth DLC, what they do is they unlock all of the Caves of Evil and the bosses from the original game to play with that character. And if you beat them all, which I probably am not going to do, you get an item that will unlock an alternate ending for that character.
I really want to play the fucking Vita version of this because, like I said, I have the original Wii version of it, but
the Vita version is so good.
Like I've said before, though, the only thing that bums me out about the Vita version is while it's a fine screen, like I wish I could play it on that bigger screen just because the art is so great.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like it controls just fine, if not better. It plays great. It's a great game to just pick up and play for like 30 minutes.
And the DLC is absolutely worth it. Definitely.
There's some good DLC out there for all the shit that it gets. There's some good DLC if you look for it.
Well, yeah, for all the Evolves, there's a Muramasa Rebirth out there.
Yeah. I was just thinking about like DLC that I've played like, in the past few weeks. And it's like, yeah, if you pick and choose, there's some good DLC out there.
So that was basically my week. I'm done.
All right then.
So Sam, what'd you do this week?
I actually played some video games this week.
Did you now?
I know. So,
what kinds of video games?
I played a couple, but I think I'm just gonna talk about two in particular, along with just like one extra thing. So first off, it was like Thursday evening, I think. I picked up Resident Evil Revelations 2 Episode 1 Penal Colony.
Oh,
sure,
yeah.
We'll say it was Thursday.
Sure, I don't remember. It was a while ago.
Isn't that game gonna be episodic?
It is. That's why it's Resident Evil.
Is there a
Revelations
reason it's
2.
episodic, or is it just for Capcom to make more money?
Yes and no. It's cheaper. It's actually only $25, whereas Revelations 1 is still $50 on Steam, so it's actually cheaper.
Ugh.
But what's weird about this is that the game is finished. They're just releasing it one episode at a time, once a week. Which I guess is just a way to try to hook people with a lower initial price point. But the big problem, and I saw Patrick Klepek's not review, because he didn't want to review it, like his discussion piece on it. And yeah, that is not a good first episode. It's just like, I get what they're going for, where like in the very beginning you have a grown-up Claire Redfield and this girl named Moira. I'm not good with names. It's Moira.
That's Moira, yes.
Moira. Okay. And it like starts with them getting captured by somebody, and they're like in this prison area, and I'm like, okay, so we got like more traditional Resident Evil that I'm not used to with like super low ammo counts. But the problem is that if you're not doing co-op, then basically you're playing as Claire with the pistol, because Moira has some unexplained reason that she doesn't like guns, which is one of the many things that bothers me about the story, is that they never explain that. It's just like, Claire's like, you should get a gun, and she's like, no, not after what happened, and then she's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Probably in episode 2.
Yeah, it's in episode 2 through 5 or whatever they'll
explain. Or not.
Yeah. But, like, the thing is, though, is that Moira has the flashlight, because apparently we don't have duct tape or anything. So you're relying on the AI to be able to see anything.
Oh.
In co-op, that sounds like an interesting idea, but, like, playing alone, the AI is pretty good for the most part. It even sort of, like breaks the game system a little bit to point the flashlight around shit that it couldn't technically do. But even still, you have moments where, like, you do a 180-degree turn, and it's like, well, I can't see anything. Great. And just waiting for the AI to turn around themselves to figure out what the hell you're trying to shoot. And it's even weirder because when you get to the second part, which features Barry Burton and this girl, Natalie, which Moira is Barry's daughter. Just for story reason or whatever. The second part takes place 6 months after. But with Barry, he has a flashlight on his belt. So if that first part wasn't annoying enough, it's compounded by the fact that when you get to the second character, it's like, great. So we just added this convenience that was already a standard in video games since, like, RE1. This whole flashlight thing. Plus, it's so weird because, like, I get the idea of, like, having a dynamic between two different characters where it's like, one can do this. Like, Moira has, like, the crowbar, she has better melee. But she, just aside from the flashlight, she doesn't do anything in particular. She's not, like, a technician or an engineer or, like, unlocks doors any special. But with Barry and Natalie, Natalie's, like, this little girl. Like, just, like, God, I don't know, like 8 years old or something like that. But the thing is that Barry, he has all the combat abilities, where, like, Barry has great melee, he has multiple guns at the start, he has his own flashlight, grenades, all that. But Natalie's thing is that she can climb through small areas or crawl through them, and if she crouches, she can actually see enemies through walls. So, and she's also silent when she crouches, so Barry becomes combat, and I don't know, the game's fucking weird. Just roll with it, Resident Evil. So it's actually interesting because instead of just splitting up what could be one character into two with Moira and Claire, it actually changes the dynamic where, like, Natalie is a great stealth character. She's able to pick up ammo from around enemies or, like, unlock doors, and then Barry can fight his way through them. It's a better dynamic. So the story...
If you will allow me a brief detour, like
Sure.
I was talking with my friend after he finished Resident Evil 5, and I thought to myself, and I was talking, we were just like, they have some pretty interesting African-American characters here in both Sheva and Josh.
Right.
Do they show up in Resident Evil 6? And he was like, fucking nope.
Nope. RE6, if I remember correctly, is all white people all the time.
So it's like, I mean, they spend the time in this game in Africa developing these interesting and, well-developed African characters, and they don't use them at all. After this, they just kind of falls to the wayside.
Yep.
Well, what's stupid about Sheva is that I can't help but feel as if Capcom decided, yeah, we're not going to do Sheva anymore. People didn't like her. I don't think people had problem with Sheva as a character. We had a problem with her being controlled by a dumb as bricks AI that didn't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah. I can see how that could be misinterpreted, though, because people technically said, like, Sheva is a bad character, but they didn't mean in the sense of, like, her personality. They just meant
Sheva,
she sucks as an AI.
Why is she not helping me out?
Yeah.
And why is she wasting all of my herbs?
She's a bad AI character.
Yeah, it's stupid.
I mean, pretty cool. I would love to see more Sheva and Chris. I thought they had, like, some kind of chemistry going on. Not, like, romantic, but, like, they actually spoke like real people.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Josh is also pretty cool.
Yeah. Josh is cool. And then, like, Resident Evil 6, you have girl whose name I don't remember. I think it's like Heidi or something like that.
Who
they have Leon, and it's like they have nothing between them. They just are the most blank, like, wooden characters I've ever seen put together.
And it's like, because like I said, you could play as Sheva if you beat Resident Evil 5 once, and you could just play Sheva by yourself.
I did that.
And then see how smart Chris is, when he's the dumb AI. Like,
yeah.
Oh, you mean biceps, right?
Yeah, that's all he is. He's just an upper torso. Oh, God, Chris. What the fuck? So yeah, every character in Revelations 2 is just white all the time. At least,
Nope.
at least half the cast is female, so it's something. Because there's Moira, Claire, this girl named Gina, Natalie, and then the male characters are Barry and
I wouldn't be surprised if
that's it.
Capcom.
There's just Barry. He's the only male that I can think of.
I wouldn't be surprised if Capcom just kind of looked at it and said, "Well, everybody got mad about RE5 saying we were
Yeah, I look
racist.
at the-
We're just not going to do any black characters." Like,
I looked at the
Yeah.
pairings in RE6 and I thought to myself, there's a lot of characters in that game that no one gives a shit about
no.
that
Yeah,
are
pretty
in
much.
that are in the playable cast.
And what's funny is like the one campaign where it seems like, well, you'd have two character maybe people care about is that because fucking Cheryl Birkin comes back, and then there's the dude who is Wesker's son, whose name I can't be bothered to remember because
Oh, we'll get to it when we get there, Chris. We'll remember.
yeah, well, I know we will.
Well, there's 4 campaigns total. Leon, what's her face, Birkin's daughter, and Wesker's son, which is the best I can remember their names.
And,
And then-
Chris and some other
Chris
guy.
and Army guy,
Yep.
and I think his name's like Preston or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah.
And then one of them
Who cares?
has Ada from Resident Evil 4 and 2. Yeah, I forgot she's actually from 2. Ada Wong and somebody else, I think.
Because when I
Fucking
when I
hell.
looked at that listing, I thought, where is Jill Valentine in this whole thing? Like,
It's, Resident Evil lore is very complicated.
and I don't care. And
Yeah, Patrick
Nope.
Klepek actually recently wrote an article doing the whole lore, and I was like, I should read that because it'll probably just make my head explode.
because I remember I was important to know. Tell me again why Wesker's doing this, and he said because I am bad guy.
Yeah, like he has like no actual reason to do anything.
Yep.
Because I am bad guy.
I mean, it's the Metal Gear Solid problem though, of like you set up these like characters and they just have like no backstory or anything, and then
Yeah.
the more sequels to make, you're like, well, he has to have a reason for doing this still. So you have to like bullshit some reasons out of thin air.
Because I remember my program was like, Chris is like, you are a bad guy, and then Wesker goes, yes, I am bad guy.
That'd be a great dub of Resident Evil 1.
Oh man, Metal Gear Solid though, that was just the greatest of like they just kept coming up with shit just off the seat of their pants.
It's
And
nanomachine.
it's
then-
just like, it just barely holds together.
Yeah, and
And
then
just
when
like-
they got
One bad game
when
will
they
just
got-
cause the whole House of Cards to collapse.
yeah, and then when they got to the fourth one, which was just fucking bananas.
Fucking
Holy shit!
Big Boss's remains and Liquid's arm and Revolver Ocelot and Meryl and Old Snake and Otacon and I remember that girl from Metal Gear 1 and remember Gray Fox
I
from
still-
Metal Gear Solid, but he's actually from
As
Metal
a-
Gear 2 and Metal Gear 1.
Yeah,
As-
yeah,
as a
Metal Gear
quick-
2, right.
As a quick aside, I still remember like how funny it was to me when they started explaining stuff. Like just as a quick tangent, like in Metal Gear Solid 4, when they say like they did all this stuff just to get Snake up to this point, like Ocelot was in on everything.
Yep.
And the whole thing of him having like his arm possessing him because of Liquid Snake's remains, no, that was just psychological treatment. It was all an act. I started fucking laughing. Like, no way. No
Yeah,
way.
I love
Him
when you
do-
get to the end of the fourth
For-
one, they're like, it's all the Patriots. It was all planned from the 1960s.
Yeah, I know.
It
It's
was
so
like, oh,
dumb.
great. God, the ending to
Oh,
MGS4 though
man.
is just fucking great, and how they're
Oh,
just
God,
like, look,
yeah.
here's one conversation that'll just wrap up everything in the entire story, and then let's bring on the Phantom Pain.
And the thing is, like, I was never disappointed with that ending. I just thought it was just this was the crazy train, and I was on it. That was it.
That's. I like to think that Resident Evil would probably be better off going that way if it just stops Well, I wouldn't say that Metal Gear it only half takes itself seriously, but if they just go full on crazy, just go like, let's just whatever, I don't know, and just
like they
go
realize
nuts
is-
with it.
It's like they realize it's stupid. Like, I would be okay if they realize it's stupid, but they continued to take it seriously.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Like RE5, it was kind of great when I first saw Wesker, and it's like he's just fucking Neo from the Matrix.
No
Just
shit.
dodge bullets in front of you. It's like that's great.
I compared him to JC Denton in Deus Ex because he looks just like them except
glasses
with
and
different
the haircut.
person. Yeah.
Yeah,
And instead of nano augmentation, it's biological augmentation.
sure. So to wrap up Revelations 2, story, whatever, like, it's cheap enough that I'm just gonna play it. Just like I have to know where this ends because as loyal listeners who have been here since the beginning will know that that's the very common problem I have is I have to see how it ends. So aside from that though, there's actually this great mode that's basically the evolution of Mercenaries called Raid Mode, and it's kind of totally the reason to get that game for $7 because it's more than $7 worth of content. It's like, think of a not time attack mode, but it's basically in that you go into a special room and it's like, alright, you can pick any of the characters that are available from like the main story, and they're all level up, they gain skills, they have passive abilities, you can level up guns and attach parts to them, like RPG style, and then you go into missions where it's like, alright, just kill like 30 enemies and then run to the end. Like, that's always the mission, but they mix up with different types of enemies or different levels, and sometimes there's time attack, most of the time it's not. So it's kind of like Mercenaries in that sense, but it's great just because it has that great RPG hook of like, oh, if I just level up my character one more time, I can unlock this new skill, this new gun slot, and you're constantly opening up chests that are like, alright, check out, I got this level 17 AK-47 that has like 3 skills attached to it. It's kind of great. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, sounds alright.
Yeah, it's like, it's worth the $7 at least, or $8 or whatever it is, but it's pretty awesome actually.
So what else did you do with your time?
So the other thing I did, which I talked about a bit in the chat beforehand, is I started playing Nosgoth again. And
oh yeah.
So the first time I played it was during the single closed beta weekend that they released it.
That's
and I have a special
free
banner
to play
for it.
Legacy of Kain game, yes.
Right. Free to play multiplayer deathmatch game. So
because that's what we wanted out of the series.
Since I have no idea what Legacy of Kain is, I love this game.
Oh, I do.
I have no expectations. So I basically want to discuss it, and since Chris has been around since the closed alpha, I wanted to talk to him and just see, like, what he thinks of particular things that I liked about it or disliked.
I mean, when I first played it, I mean, obviously, it's probably become a different fucking game since I ever.
He wants his Nos to get gothed.
Yeah, I have no idea how much it's changed.
Oh.
But, just like booting it up again, and like, I just immediately became hooked because I think I've realized that I want to like multiplayer games, especially like competitive multiplayer shooter or shooter style games, but I always have that problem of like people just get so good that there's no way to outgun them because most of the time it's just like, well, they either just have better guns or they just know the map so well that you can just, it's over. So what's really great about this is that it's totally asymmetric multiplayer. Like the two sides not even just like conceptually play differently, they just completely are not the same whatsoever. Because one side is humans that mostly focus on grouping together and ranged attacks and keeping off vampires, and then the vampiric side is mostly melee, and it's a lot about picking apart humans, almost like Left 4 Dead Infected style.
And they balance it out by having you play as each side.
Right. Both times you play in a single match, you play one round each. But it's just a great dynamic, and there's like so many different variables at play about like the humans don't regenerate health, so you have to go to certain health stations in order to do that. So you generally want to move as a pack, and which means when you're playing as humans, you have different. When you set up a certain match, it's like I've played matches where we roam around the entire map the whole time, and then you're just going to different places. Or I played one match where like we stayed in the same corner, but that meant that every time we had to go get health, we had to venture further and further out before we could retreat to our safe zone. So that sets up different dynamics. And I wrote down a couple of notes. Like, I like how a bunch of the abilities, there's always like an offensive ability that everybody has. Like, the basic vampire, I can't remember, the Reaver has the hunter style jump on somebody and claw at them.
Yeah.
But like all of them also have a team-based or defensive ability. So the Reaver also has an ability that's a smoke bomb that basically just highlights all of the humans for your whole team. And his third ability is just, all it does is evade projectiles. Like, you can't attack while you do it. Similarly, like the heavy guy has a ram button that can break up humans together. And it has a shockwave that deals a lot of damage, but also has one that just makes you immune to damage for a little bit. And the humans, like, the alchemist has like giant bombs that it can lob in multiple areas to break up packs of hunters. Whereas like the scout has a longbow that it can use to take out the flying guys. It's just all so expertly crafted, and all the abilities do a great job of trying to force team coordination, along with, like I said, the fact that humans have to use health pickups, whereas the vampires generate health by either picking apart humans or just waiting because they'll regenerate health. It's just really well designed.
Yeah, it is. I mean, for what it's worth, despite whatever gripes I might have by, like, yeah, as somebody who's a fan of the Legacy of Kain games, this may not have been what I wanted out of another installment, but for what they have done, they've done a really good job of making something. And granted, like I said, the last time I played this was, I think it had entered beta, and it was still that whole deal of, like, we don't want you to post any screenshots or footage of this yet because it's not really done. But, you know, I'd messed around with it, and, you know, like I said, there were growing pains. You know, you kind of feel like some of the stuff is not entirely balanced yet, because it isn't. They don't have enough data yet to know how exactly to balance out everything. I will say, like, the one thing that I thought was weird was when I was playing on the vampire side, and you have the flyers, basically, like the only guys who have wings. I couldn't figure out how to fucking fly to save my life. Like, I didn't.
It seems like everyone I play with has that same problem, because they just kind of like take off for a second and then hit the ground.
Yeah,
and I haven't bought that character yet, so I don't know.
That is exactly what the problem was. Like, it was just like how fly. Like, I couldn't figure it out. Like, you'd get up for a second and then you just fall back down. Like, fuck.
Great. What were some other things? I'm just looking at the other set. So to talk about like the surrounding aspects of the free-to-play thing, that's probably where the biggest hindrance in the game is, and it's in the most obvious thing, which does not surprise me at all, which is pricing. It's ridiculous. In that, I understand, like, you know, after looking at the price for a while, I understand that it's better to price high and then go lower as the game gets closer to release, because if you start low, you can never go any higher, or else people will just be forever angry at it.
Yeah.
But that means that a single character costs like $20.
Ooh!
And it's like, Christ! So you can get a single, they call it artifact, which is like a little, you know, just an unlock token every 5 levels, which, you know, it's not too hard. Like, every couple of hours you can probably get one if you're doing really well. But the idea of, like, I don't know, I just want to, like, buy this one character, it's like, because they price it so that you can only get the minimum amount of money to get that right amount of points. So technically the character is, like, maybe less than 15, but you have to buy $20 worth of tokens because there's no $5 amount. So you have to buy it in sets of 10, which means you have to pay at least $20 to get a single class.
God.
And the bigger problem I have with that, which is like, fine, you know, they're probably going to make it lower. I would certainly hope so. But you can't look at any videos, you can't test drive the character, you can't even look at them without paying for it. Because every time I was looking at the characters, like, come on, give me like a video that's just like, and this character has this ability, and it's great for this kind of player. And it's like,
I
at least give me
like
that.
You could give them like a small arena or something where they're playing by themselves to try it out.
Yeah, but it's like, at the very least, just a fucking video embedded in the player that's just embedded in the client that just says, all right, here's this character's abilities. Like, doesn't League have something like that?
Yeah.
It's like, you can just, like, look at every character's abilities before you buy them.
I know.
I'm basically just playing roulette, where it's like, I have to watch someone else play them.
I mean,
go
do they offer, like, free weeks where, like, they have a character that's for free for 1 week?
No, because the base classes are always free. So, like, both sides have 2 classes for free at all times, which for the humans is...
Only 2?
Yeah, which is the other thing. Like...
Holy shit!
That's... And the secondary thing is, like... I forgot the other thing I was going to say, which is... I think it's really cool that it doesn't fall into the free-to-play trope of getting small attachments that raise percentages little by little. Like, they really focused on making the base game really well. But that also leads to the problem of, like, at least to my understanding, you can never unlock any more abilities. You have to buy them, either through in-game gold or, again, paying for them for a couple bucks a pop. So you get, like, 2 characters who have 3 abilities, and that's it, for free. So it seems like their free-to-play setup is the worst thing going for it, because while it's a very fun game, and I think that's the best thing, you know, it's got so far, it's just so limiting. And I was looking at, like, skins, and I was like, alright, maybe I'll look at, like, a skin for the Alchemist, because I think she's, like, really cool. And it's, like, $10 for a skin.
Ooh!
And it's like, nope! Not
you know my feelings about microtransaction prices, so I'm not going to
If it was, like, $3 or something, I'd be like, alright, cool, $3, get to look cool, get to keep that or whatever. But it's, like, $10! It's like, Christ almighty, man. And it's not like Dota, where you have all the characters or anything.
No,
I mean, you have to buy a character for $20, pay $10 for a skin, maybe pay $5 or $10 for some abilities.
I mean, shit. Even when you compare this to like Team Fortress 2, which I don't know how fair that may or may not be, but I don't know.
It's the worst thing going. And the most egregious one, which was so bad I had to write it down in my notes, was so they released this new character called the Vanguard. It's the first human melee character.
So what does it like? Do a biotic charge at enemies?
No, it's a shield and an axe. And it's like it's their tank character. It's their only melee. Which, bear in mind, if you want to play human, you basically have to play range, which is part of the dynamic,
Yeah.
which makes sense.
Yeah.
But so if you want to get that, it's the standard like $20, and I was like, well, that's ridiculous. And I saw a thing that's like, hey, since the Vanguard came out, check out the Vanguard pack, and it comes with like all the skins they have right now, not like any future ones, unlike Smite or something like that. So it's like all the skins we currently have, all the weapons, all the perks, $40, and I was like, wow. The bonus at the very bottom, it has a disclaimer that says this pack does not come with the Vanguard class. You have to buy the class separately, which means $60 for a class and all their little bonus stuff.
Yeah, this seems really disgusting because, like I said,
That's
maybe
like
this
better
should
like 5 levels of like
Oh,
ridiculousness.
yeah. Like, they really should have gone with the same approach as Team Fortress 2. Give people the classes for free, and then just sell them a bunch of cosmetic stuff. Like
I
that.
would so buy like more cosmetics because the art in
Yeah.
that game is really cool and the character
Yeah.
designs are awesome. But even if you want to pay for classes, it's like, again, I know you're highballing it, but $20.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I mean, this is not a MOBA. This is a standard team versus team game.
Yeah, it's a team deathmatch game.
Yeah.
And you know, it's the other thing of like, it's just compounded by the fact that it's like, okay, it's $20, but you don't get any skins with that. It's $20, you don't get any extra abilities with that. And it's like, if $20 was like, $20 gets you the character, the skins, the abilities, I'd be like, cool, that's at least a full thing. It's like, here's everything for this character. You know, like, maybe this is the perfect value for all I know as far as people buying it. I don't know who the fuck would do that. You know, maybe if I just, you know, maybe one week I just lose my fucking mind and I buy
I
one.
would be curious to see the numbers of how many people purchase those packs.
But like I said, I would not be surprised if by the time they released it, they were like, hey, we chopped all the prices in half. And then it's like, okay, like $10 for a character. It's a bit much, but I get it, you know? So
Yeah,
it's really cool, and I think the base game is super awesome. It's just everything surrounding it just sucks.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the big problem.
Ouch.
It is kind of a problem, though. Big
Yeah.
problem.
Yep.
So I'm going to keep playing it, and, you know, I'm going to see how much enjoyment I can wring out of it before it starts asking me to pay for stuff. As far as, like, new characters and such. There are, luckily, no energy meters or any weird things like that.
Yeah. No.
But that was cool. I suppose just little tidbits would be like, I found a whole bunch of new music recently. You guys probably would be interested in a bunch of like noise and shit. Like, I apparently discovered that there is such a thing, because I was on this website for Vocaloid music, and I was looking at the genre playlist, and I was like, so there is such a thing as Vocaloid emo rock. There is such a thing as Vocaloid noise metal, which is fantastic. I checked out some Vocaloid noise. And I was just looking at shit like that, and I was like, the things that these people do with these voices are kind of incredible. Like, I just listening one, there was just like this like noise rock band called Birthday of Eden, and I was like, this is pretty great. Just Vocaloid noise. And then the last thing was I recently picked up Ranma 1/2, which is this old manga from like the 70s or 80s or something like that. I started it in high school with a friend of mine. Back when we read manga together in my class when we had our spare time, and he eventually gave up on that because it's like 10 books and each book is like 200 pages.
Oh, Jesus.
So I've been reading that again lately. I just started over from the very beginning because I was like, yeah, whatever. And it's a great, cute little story. You know, it's super simple. It's just about a guy who comes to live with these people with his father, and they're like, all right, so you're destined to marry this girl, and it's like, you know, the whole joke about them hating each other at first, and they come to like each other. Yeah, it's simple. The whole, like, crux of the series, though, is that because he fell into the water, it was like, they call it, like, the cursed spring of drowned girl. Whenever he goes into cold water, he turns into a girl, and hot water turns him back into a guy. So, like, all the jokes basically revolve around, like, him, like, freaking out at school because people are just throwing water around. And his dad, in cold water, turns into a panda, because of course. And some guy that was going to challenge him to a duel followed him to China and fell into the cursed spring of drowned pig. So he turns into a little pig when he goes into cold water. And it's like, that's where most of the comedy comes from. It's just like, you know, like the first chapter is like him turning to a girl and like they walk in on each other and it's like, who is this fucking girl in my bathroom? And it's like, oh, it's Ranma. He's actually a guy. It's like, oh, this is getting weird. But everybody takes it like super lightly. They're just like, yep, Ranma just turns into a girl. You know, naturally. It's
naturally.
I remember hearing about this way back in like the, probably like early 90s. I was looking through a copy of EGM back when I was in like, elementary school, and they fucking had an ad for like a Ranma 1/2 game for Super Nintendo. It was like some fighting game. So it dates back quite a ways.
Yeah, like just judging by the art, it looks like 80s, if not late 70s. It is super old.
Yep.
But I kind of like it. Like I like the simple art in it. I like the expressive faces that's kind of missing in like the super high detailed anime you see today.
Yeah.
That's just me though. But so if you ever get a chance to go check out Ranma 1/2, like they have books on Amazon or there's sites you can go to where they just have scans of it, and it's worth a read at least for the first few chapters.
I still wish I could find shit from like Fist of the North Star translated just to read that. Like,
so you can
even
read
though
about how he's already dead.
Yeah. Omewa mu shinderu. Just.
Yep. Well, I mean, you can always check out JoJo, which is kind of like the modern day Fist of the North Star.
I've heard how fucking bananas JoJo's Bizarre Adventure gets. I don't even want to go down that. I do not want to go down that fucking rabbit hole.
Just go full bananas with JoJo.
But I do want to play that PS3 fighting game.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think with that, we're gonna call it a show.
Are we?
I guess if you're done.
Well, I should let you know before we leave that we get no viewer questions this week.
Right, I was going to bring that up.
But if you and their listeners have your questions, comments, or thoughts you want us to read on the air, you can do so at thetexturepop@gmail.com. That's thetexturepop@gmail.com.
Or our Twitter account, thetexturepop. I check it.
At thetexturepop.
That's right. As far as new stuff, I finally released my Sayano Uta article. That got built and like destroyed and rebuilt about 3 times over. It turned out quite well, though.
I posted an impressions piece on Final Fantasy VI.
So, if you want to go check those out, the links to our respective blogs will be in the annotations.
Will be in doobly-doo.
Yeah. Well, they'll be in Brandon's annotations, but there will also be in the description to get to Brandon's annotations.
The doobly-doo.
Right. Doobly-doo. And with that, guys, this is Texture Pop. Signing off.
Yes, good night.
Hey, I wasn't going to say it this time, you prick.
So, end it before he does.
Okay, bye everybody.